What's the story, Morning Glory? What is the word, Hummingbird? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this review of Match Me Abroad Season 2, Episode 11, Trial by Fire. I do apologize for it being a day late, but I just didn't really feel like doing much of anything yesterday. Let's start off with Tony. So, once again, his matchmaker Louisa matches him with another beautiful woman by the name of Thais. And their date is going to consist of them doing some graffiti art, right? So, Tony tells us that he didn't even notice how short Thais's hair was because he was so taken aback by her beauty. Okay, and she was a gorgeous woman. She was a very beautiful woman. He didn't even notice how short her hair was. Now, her hair was short in according to Tony's standards, but her hair actually to me wasn't that short. It was actually just like, regular shoulder length, medium length, whatever. So they are talking about their likes and their dislikes, etc. And she mentions that she does like dogs. Like she really, really likes dogs. And I was like, oh, girl, why'd you say that? Because he's probably now going to have like a panic attack or PTSD about the ex girlfriend and the previous match that allowed their dogs to sleep with them in their beds because Tony thinks that that's something weird and off putting for someone to let their dogs sleep with them in their bed. It's like, what did he say that it showed that they didn't have any like self-esteem or something. I don't know what he said. I don't understand Tony's science and his psychology. I don't get it at all whatsoever. But we know that he absolutely detests women who allow their dogs to sleep with them in their bed. But they didn't talk about that. She mentioned that she liked dogs and they left it at that. Then she also tells us, she doesn't tell him, but she tells us in her own confessional that she does prefer men with long hair. And we know that Tony has no hair. But the upside of Tony, according to her, is that she did like his muscles. And I was like, this Tony? You like this Tony's muscle? Because I really didn't see anything really muscular about Tony's physique, but go off. So after they do their art, they sit and they talk, and he asks her, what do you look for in a man? And she tells him that, yeah, well, I do prefer men who have longer hair, who have long hair. And you can tell that Tony was a little bit taken aback by that, right? And as soon as she said that, you could tell that it was over for Tony. He was no longer interested in her because then he starts picking her apart because he asked her if she's a flashy person and she didn't know what flashy meant. And so he explained his definition of flashy as someone who does something, I guess, to their appearance to try to garner attention from other people. You want all eyes on you. You want to be noticed. You want to be seen. And she was like, no, that's not me at all. Absolutely not. And then he was like, well, I noticed that you have a diamond in your tooth. And she had I guess she had a dominant tooth. I didn't see it. I don't know if the resolution of my TV isn't that strong. But I didn't see the diamond. It wasn't like this huge, humongous thing just, shining in her mouth. It looked like it was something that was pretty small and in a conspicuous place in her mouth. It wasn't, you know, out there. I think it was on her like on a side tooth. I might have seen a little bit of something, something. And so he didn't like that. That was too flashy for him. He compared that to rappers and how rappers were their grills. That's what he compared it to. This little tiny insignificant piece of diamond, this chip of a diamond that was she had drilled into her tooth or somehow embedded into her tooth. He compared that to like these rappers and their grills. So Tony tells us that he didn't like her anymore. He wasn't a fan of that. And in his confessional, he says, yeah, I don't really like her anymore. I don't think she likes me and I don't like her. So no love lost there. And then he goes on to talk about how he is extremely disappointed in his matchmaker, Luisa, for once again matching him with someone that he doesn't like. Luisa gets a message from Thais after their date, and the message says that this was the worst day that she's ever been on. Thais also goes on to say that Tony did not talk a lot. It was like pulling teeth to get him to talk and to open up. She said that his only answers was yes or no. He didn't really expound on anything. He didn't have any stories to tell about himself. And she also told Louisa that Tony cares a lot about appearance. So Louisa has planned a meeting with Tony. Her guns are loaded. She's ready to meet with this man face to face. And she says she's going to fire him. She's going to cut off their matchmaker client relationship and she's done with him because he's just not going to be pleased. There's no pleasing Tony. Tony has some very deep rooted issues, which the only people who can figure it out are people who are trained to pick apart people's brains and their psychology. People who you refer to as doctors, okay, doctor so and so. And like I said, people who have been to school, who have been to years and years and years of school and have a whole bunch of degrees on their walls. Those are the only people that can figure out what the hell is going on with Tony because the matchmaker won't be able to do it. We won't be able to do it as the viewers. He's got some very deep rooted issues. It's beyond just having a preference because everybody has a preference. We've seen shows like this, right? We know people like this in our lives, in our real lives, where people, a certain person's like, well, I prefer this type of person or that type of person, and they're very strict with what they like and what they want. But even those people, I think, are willing to bend a little bit more than Tony. Okay, if you really love and you're very much attracted to very tall, Scandinavian type women with the icy blue eyes and long blonde hair and legs that go on for days, and that is your type and that is what you want. Nobody's faulting you for having a type of anything. Okay, but realistically, are you going to get that? Is your type into you? That's number one. Is your type even into you? And does your type hold any other qualities that's going to sustain a relationship with you? Okay, you like tall Scandinavian looking women with icy blue eyes and long legs, but are they funny? Can they hold a conversation? Can they take care of themselves? How is their hygiene? Are they, if you want children, do they want children? If you don't want children, are they on the same page with you? It's more to it than just looks. And that's why people always end up compromising. It's like, yes, I have a type. You have a type. I have a type. We all have types. But a lot of the times we don't end up with exactly what we want when it comes to physical appearance because it takes so much more than that. And everyone realizes that at some point in their life that if they want to have a long-term relationship that's going to be sustainable, you want to be attracted to your partner. Nobody wants to be with an ogre. Nobody wants to be with someone that they find disgusting and unappealing. No one wants to be with someone that's going to cause their eyes to stray to somebody else. We all want, but then it's sometimes, you're like, okay, maybe I like tall, Scandinavian looking blonde women with icy blue eyes, but maybe this cute little short brunette who's extremely funny and really into me and, takes care of herself and, wants to be the mother of my children. Maybe, I'll give her a chance. She's not necessarily my type, but we vibe, we get along. She's attractive, she's beautiful. You have to bend. You're not always going to get exactly what you want and how you want it. And I think that Tony thinks that Louisa is like this magician, or he thinks that she's God and she can literally create his perfect woman just out of thin air. And she's giving him real life women, real human beings who have flaws, who are not perfect, who might not be exactly what he's looking for, whose hair might be a centimeter shorter than what he would prefer. But he's not willing to budge. And if he's not willing to budge and bend and compromise and be open minded, it doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to find any of these women suitable, even if he does, even if he is willing to compromise. But you got to give it a chance. Got to be open minded and open hearted. And he's just like, everything is closed off. If her hair's not long enough, oh no, she's not, I can't do it. She's got a little diamond, a little something something to kind of like, glamorize herself a little bit of bling to make herself, oh no, I can't do it, I don't like her. Oh, she prefers men with long hair, okay, I don't like her because, okay, she prefers men with long hair, but maybe she also maybe prefers men who can make her laugh even more. Maybe she prefers men who can, you know, entertain her and keep a conversation going. Maybe she likes it even more than a man with long hair. He wasn't willing to compromise. He shut down immediately. And that was the end of that. Another attractive woman gone by the wayside because this man has some very deep rooted issues within himself that he is self sabotaging. And he's purposely, I don't know what the hell he's doing in Brazil. I don't know what the hell he's doing there because you're not looking for a relationship. If you're this gung ho about looking for a relationship, you know that you're going to have to be open minded. Okay. Ed from 90 Day Fiance, Ed ain't nobody's type, but Ed gets the women because the women that he gets see something in him that's like, okay, maybe he's, not exactly what I would normally go for, but I'm going to give it a chance. And he's still able to have relationships and have children and whatnot, because the women are willing to be open minded and he's willing to be open minded. But I don't even know why I use that as an example. Maybe that was a horrible example. I don't know. But Tony, yeah, Louisa, you're doing a good thing by breaking off this business relationship with him because he's not going to be compromising. But also, Louisa, I have a question for you, girl. How come How come you were able to find you matched him with a woman that wanted a man with long hair? Like Louisa, if when your clients come and tell you what they're looking for, if she said to you, because I'm thinking she's also your client, if she's coming to you and telling you, Louisa, I like men with long hair, and then you match her with the man with no hair at all, Louisa, what are you doing? Are you trying to get back at Tony? Is this your get back for him pissing you off and getting on your case for not doing a good job because he questioned your ability to be a matchmaker? And so you're like, I'm gonna get him back, I'm gonna find him a woman that's gonna tell him to his face that she prefers long hair because I'm gonna give him a dose of his own medicine. It kind of seems like you're trying to do your little get back at Tony. Louisa, moving on to Amber. So it's the next morning on her little weekend getaway with Keven. They wake up in bed together. um Amber makes sure the producers ask her, hey, did anything happen last night between you and Keven? She said, absolutely not. They did not have sex. She says that she wants to keep sex completely off the table because sex tends to cloud her judgment. And so she doesn't want to do that at all when she's trying to get to know somebody. They go and they do, I don't know what the correct term is. Do they do archery? Or do you play archery? Do you perform archery? But they go do archery. And they place a little bet, and he says, if I win, then you have to promise I'm going to be the only man that you spend time with for the remainder of your stay in Ireland. She ends up winning. He lost, but Amber tells us that that made her happy because it shows that he's interested in her. It shows that he can get a little jealous, a little jelly, and that he doesn't want her to spend time with anybody else. Like he really wants them to be wrapped up in each other, and he's showing interest in her. He's pursuing her. He's doing the things that she's been waiting for him to do, which is to show interest and to pursue her and to chase her. And so she really did like that. Like he was fighting for her. They talk about, oh, this was another cute moment when he tells us in his confessional that he really does like Amber because she has this like childlike quality about her. And this was after she was doing some cartwheels after she won the archery game. He's like, yeah, I really like her because yes, I can see why men are drawn to Amber. I can see why. I just don't understand why she's not in a relationship yet. Like why she's having a problem being in a relationship or staying in a relationship. Why does she have to go to a matchmaker? That's what I'm trying to say. Because Amber sells herself, with her personality. Why does she have to go to a matchmaker? But anyways, so he's like, yeah, she's cute, she's fun, childlike qualities. I'm really digging her. And so then they sit down at this bench and they start talking about their future. He brings up their future. And he says to her that he's very open with living abroad. And she says that she's also very open to living abroad. So I guess it can go either way with them. If he wanted to move to the United States or if she wanted to move to Ireland, it's good either way. But Amber still has thoughts of Glenn. She tells us that she is still thinking about Glenn, cannot get Glenn out of her mind, and that Glenn has been texting her nonstop. So she's very confused, right? She doesn't know what she's going to do. She doesn't know if she wants to go with the more extroverted Glenn, or does she want to go with the more introverted, quiet, reserved Keven? Um, I would hope that I don't know what's best for Amber, but I don't know. I'm kind of leaning more towards Keven. I like a slow burn more than like a mad rush. So I think that she should probably give Keven a chance, even though he lives with his family. Which if he's willing to move for her, he won't be living with his family anymore. And I'm pretty sure she can persuade him for them to get their own place if she wanted to pursue something with him seriously. I think Keven is, even though he's a lot more quiet, I don't know. I just think he's probably more stable and more mature and he's really taking his time with her. Whereas with Glenn, it's like, how, like, why do you like her so fast? Like, how could you fall so fast for her? Um, I'm not sure if he's like love bombing her. And then it's like it's too hot too fast, and I'm scared that it's gonna get cold, real cold, soon after. So I prefer the slow burn Keven than Glenn. Moving on to Sarah. Sarah's on her second date with EJ. He comes bearing gifts, right? He brought her a gift from is it Valentina or Valentino? He From Valentino. He comes with a gift from Valentino, which was just a basic keychain, which is really cute, whatever, Valentino keychain. And he tells her that he's going to be leaving soon because he has a bodybuilding competition in another country. And so he won't be there when she leaves Singapore. So she's really bummed about that. And Sarah tells him that her matchmaker Dolly had told her that she should tone down her looks, that her looks a little bit on the extreme side, and that she needs to tone it down. And so she asks him, "Do you agree with her?" And EJ's like, "No, I don't agree with that. You know, you do you. Whatever you want to do, I'm cool with that. If I fall for you, I fall for who you are as a person." And I'm like, of course EJ is going to say that. Of course you're not gonna sit there and tell this woman to her face, yes, I agree with your matchmaker that you look like a bimbo and you do need to tone it down because you look cheap and whorish. He's not gonna tell her that. So of course he's gonna agree, with her. And but EJ, we're not gonna forget what you said. Your first impression of her is that she looked like a damn bimbo. So she felt really good about that because her and Dolly are kind of like in battle with this thing about her appearance. So I'm pretty sure she's gonna run into Dolly. He prefers me just exactly as I am. He doesn't want me to tone it down at all. Sarah then tells us that she is beginning to fall for him. Later on, because he's leaving soon, she wants him to meet her mom before he leaves. So her mom and EJ and her, they all go out to dinner together. He came bearing gifts again. He brought her mom flowers. And the mother's first impression of EJ was that he was self assured, he was confident, he was also very masculine. So they sit down, they get to talking. The mom's asking him questions. And he talks about how he was divorced 13 years prior, and the mother asked him, when was your last breakup? He said it was like a couple of months ago. Um, so that was kind of soon, right? Like, are you really ready to move on into another serious relationship after you just broken up a couple of months ago? They talk about him leaving for his competition, and he surprises Sarah by telling her that he changed his mind about leaving and that, in fact, he's going to skip out on the competition. And he found that it was more important for him to stay in Singapore to spend however many days she has left together with her for them to get to know each other better. And he says that there's always going to be competitions, but there's only one Sarah. So that she was really happy about that. She got up, she gave him a hug. She was super, super excited. She says that this made her feel really, really special, that he was willing to give up on a competition just to spend more time with her. Moving on to Harold. So Harold meets with Amber and her friend Joe because she wants her friend Joe to vet out Harold. So the friend's first impression of Harold, Joe's first impression of Harold, is that he looked like a serial killer. The friend asks about his past relationships, about Michaela in Prague. They talk about that. Then the friend asks, what about your other connection here in Singapore? What the hell happened to that? And Harold says, we didn't really have any chemistry. She didn't check all my boxes, but Amber does. Amber checks all of my boxes. So the friend was just shooting out questions, which is her job. That's what Amber brought her there to do. And Harold tells us that he felt a little bit uncomfortable being interrogated like this, but it is what it is. Harold also tells a friend that he's here for a purpose and he's dating with intentions, and his intention is to find a wife, a lifelong mate. He's not playing around. Harold also brings up the kiss that him and Amber shared. And the friend looked at Amber and was like, girl, what kiss? You missed out the best part when you're telling me about Harold. You left out the best part. Y'all kissed? And so Amber's like, it's not like that. So she tries to give more context to the story. She said that she had leaned in to give him a kiss on the cheek, but he turned his head, it landed on his lips. So it was an unintentional, unplanned kiss. Amber says they talk about Harold's autism. And Amber says that, I think autism is probably just a term for very intelligent people. Okay. So she makes it seem like she has no issues with it. She thinks it's a positive thing. It's just, people who are autistic process things differently and they are much more intelligent than the rest of us. Keep that, Amber. Don't go back to your matchmaker, Dolly, and be like, oh, I'm so worried about him being autistic. You're saying it's a good thing, it's a positive thing. It's just, another label for people who have very high intelligence. Stick with that. So at the end of the date, at the end of the dinner, Joe gave her a stamp of approval and she was like, yeah, I think Harold is great for my friend Amber and I'm excited to see where this goes. So she gave Harold 2 thumbs up, gave them the green light to move forward with their relationship. And that's that. And I don't know, am I happy about Harold and Amber being together? I'm a little bit protective of Harold. Um, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. I guess I'm okay with it, but I need him to, tread very lightly and take it real slow. Don't rush into anything. But I'm okay with it. I think she does like him. They've been on like how many dates now? Like 3 or 4 dates, something like that. So she must really like him. So I'm okay with it. But you mess up, girl. You mess up. I'm come look for you. Thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it on your way out. Please do not forget to rate the video if you like this content. Subscribe to my channel, and I'll definitely talk to you later.